It happened on a Monday morning, the kind of day when the sun seems too bright for the misery it shines upon. I was halfway across the school courtyard, clutching the only breakfast I could afford, 2 boiled eggs wrapped in a napkin, when I heard the laughter. Not just any laughter. His laughter. Tyler Grant, the school's golden boy, the one with the perfect hair, perfect friends, and a cruel streak that could cut steel. He pointed at me, smirking, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Hey! Careful, guys! Don't bump into Egg Boy, he might crack." The crowd erupted. My hands trembled. My face burned. And before I could take another breath, splat! An egg, my egg, smashed against my chest, yolk dripping down my thrift store hoodie. Then another. And another. They'd taken them from my bag while I wasn't looking. The courtyard filled with laughter so loud it drowned out the bell. Even the teachers didn't step in. No one ever did. They just watched. As I stood there, sticky, humiliated, broken. I remember staring at the ground, the yellow yolk seeping into my shirt, and thinking, this is it. This was the moment that would define me, not as their egg boy, but as something else. Something they would never forget. Because what they didn't know was that while they laughed, I was already changing. Every night after school, in the dusty garage behind my foster father's house, I was learning something they'd never understand: control. My foster father, Mr. Watanabe, wasn't much of a talker. A quiet Japanese man in his 60s, with a limp in his left leg and eyes that could see straight through lies. He didn't ask about school. He didn't have to. He could tell by the way I slammed the door every afternoon that the world had been cruel again. That night after the egg incident, I sat in the garage, staring at my shaking hands. He stood behind me, silent as always, until he finally said, "Your anger is loud, Kai. But your spirit, it's whispering. Which one do you want people to hear?" I didn't answer. I just kept clenching and unclenching my fists. He handed me a rag and pointed to the old car in the corner. "Wax on. Wax off." I groaned. "You've got to be kidding me." He didn't smile. Discipline first. Power later. I didn't know it then, but those words would shape everything that came after. Every wax, every sweep, every breath, it wasn't just cleaning. It was teaching me control. Days turned into weeks. My body toughened, my focus sharpened. Every night, I'd train, barefoot on the cold garage floor, copying his movements, learning balance, defense, patience. He taught me not just to fight, but to wait. Because revenge, he said, is like holding a blade too soon, and you cut yourself. By the time spring came, I wasn't the same Kai anymore. I still wore the same thrift store clothes, still walked the same halls. But something in me had shifted, quiet confidence replacing the hollow anger that once burned inside me. Tyler didn't notice at first. He never noticed anything that didn't feed his ego. Until the day in gym class when coach made him my sparring partner. "Try not to break him too fast," someone snickered. Tyler grinned. "Oh, don't worry. Egg Boy's about to be scrambled." The old me would have flinched. But that day, I just bowed, the way Mr. Watanabe taught me, and whispered, "Respect." Tyler lunged. I didn't. I waited. He swung wildly, but his fist met nothing but air. Each punch I dodged, calm as still water, until his breathing grew ragged and his smirk began to fade. When he finally charged one last time, I stepped aside and let his own momentum send him sprawling to the mat. Silence fell. Every eye in the gym was on me. I didn't gloat. Didn't smile. Just bowed again, the same way my foster father would have. Coach blew the whistle. That's enough. But for Tyler, it wasn't. Not yet. He came for me after school, of course. Bullies always do. Anger's the only language they speak when the mirror cracks. He shoved me near the lockers, fists clenched, voice trembling. Think you're better than me now? I looked him in the eye. No. I just stopped being worse. He swung. I caught his wrist midair, firm, steady. And for the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. I could have ended it right there. Could have broken his nose, dropped him to the floor, made him feel every ounce of pain he'd given me. But I didn't. Because Mr. Watanabe's words echoed in my head. Real strength isn't what you do with anger, it's what you do without it. So I let go. I stepped back. And I walked away. Tyler shouted something behind me, words I don't even remember anymore. But I remember the silence that followed. The way people looked at him, not with laughter anymore, but with pity. 2 months later, Tyler was expelled. Not because of me, but because the same cruelty he'd used on me, he turned on someone else. Only this time, there were cameras. Evidence. Witnesses. When I saw his face as he packed his locker, red-eyed and trembling, I felt nothing. No joy. No revenge. Just peace. Mr. Watanabe was right. Karma doesn't need your fists, it just needs your patience. I still train every morning, the same wax on, wax off movements that once annoyed me. But now I understand. Karate isn't about fighting others. It's about conquering yourself. And every time I look in the mirror, I see the boy they once called Egg Boy. But now, I smile. Because that boy, broken, humiliated, angry, was the shell I had to crack to become who I was meant to be. The bully egged the wrong kid. And that's how I found my strength.